Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, I'm not kidding. You're not going to believe this, but before I get into this, the story of this hour, I just want to wish all of you, the great audience of Kuhner country, a very happy, blessed Thanksgiving. All the best to you and your family. We will be off tomorrow. We'll have obviously programming, but we will not be doing a live episode or a live show of the Kuhner Report. But I want to thank all of you for your support all this year. And I wish all of you, honestly, a tremendous, really happy Thanksgiving. We will be back live on Monday, I promise. So the Kuhner Man's going to be eating a lot of turkey. I love Thanksgiving. It's maybe my favorite holiday of the year. And with all the fixings, I love mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing. I love it. The kids are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Grace is looking forward to it. So truly, from me, Mike, Sandy, everybody, the whole team, have a wonderful, happy, peaceful, I hope it's a very peaceful Thanksgiving. Don't argue politics. It's not worth it. You have moonbats in the family. Just ignore them. There's so many other things to talk about. What's important is family, friends, and being grateful and thankful for everything that we have. Above all, being Americans. Okay, my friends, I was thinking of leading, to be brutally honest with all of you, with what is now happening regarding this peace deal with Ukraine. And I'm probably going to get to it by the end of the show. It's geopolitics. It's at the highest level. Trump now says they are very, very close to finally brokering a deal that will end 4 years of carnage and bloodshed. And I got to say, if Trump can pull this off, it will be his crown jewel. That will be the jewel in his crown in terms of his foreign achievements, foreign policy achievements. Now, but anyway, we're going to get to that. The reason why I'm not leading with Ukraine is because this story is not just a very big local story. It is a story that shows the future of cities, towns, across not just Massachusetts or New England, but frankly in blue states across the entire country. And when I say this, and forgive me because tomorrow's Thanksgiving and you're eating breakfast, many of you, and I'm not trying to have you, spit out your breakfast. But you are now going to be living in a future, if we don't stand up to this right here, right now, of literally living in garbage and squalor. No, I mean literally living in garbage, trash, and squalor. So, listen now to this hot tip to the New York Post. The Moonbat mayor, and she's a hardcore leftist, Brianna Lungo, I believe, pardon me, Mike? Kern. You mean Cohen? Really? Okay. Well, however you pronounce her last name, Brianna Lungo. Mike says it's Kern. I'm like, there's no R in there. Anyway, Brianna Lungo Cohn is a rabid environmentalist. She is the woke mayor of Medford. And I'm not kidding. This woman loves to rack up award after award after award. She wants the prize of craziest radical environmentalist. Well, listen now to this, okay? By the way, for those of you, because we have a massive audience outside of Massachusetts, Medford is a suburb literally just outside of Boston. Okay, it's a little city, suburb just outside of Boston. It's where we broadcast our show from. It's where iHeart broadcasts here in iHeart Boston. So in a way, it's also personal to the Kuhner Man. Not that I live in Medford, but I work in Medford. Okay, long story short. She recently released a press release. Okay, listen to this. Buried 12 paragraphs in, because she's going on, I got great news to share with all of you. Medford has received, now listen to this, a $200,000 pay-as-you-throw grant from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. So they got a $200,000 grant. And this grant apparently was because they're really pushing recycling in Medford in a very aggressive way. And apparently they're pushing what's called curbside composting. So, they're like, no one does more composting. No one does apparently more recycling than this crazy mayor of Medford. So she's now claiming that in order to protect, quote unquote, the environment, in order to fight, quote unquote, climate change, and she's being applauded now by environmental groups, not just in Massachusetts, around the entire country, that now they are going to reduce garbage pickup in Medford. It's originally, once a week. Now it's going to be once every 2 weeks, i.e. twice a month. And blank you. And so once every 2 weeks, they're going to come by and they give you this, this 64-gallon bin that you can stick your trash in. And that's what they're going to pick up once every 2 weeks. That's it. And the recycling, obviously. Every 2 weeks, the recycle. Oh, she's a recycling fanatic. So now, and by the way, she brags in the press release, no extra charge. And I'm like, what? You're reducing trash pickup. You're cutting it from 4 times a month, once a week, to now twice a month, once every 2 weeks. And you're patting yourself on the back saying you're not going to charge us more for providing less service? Literally half? Now, there's a couple of points that need to be made, and then honestly, I want to hear from you. This is an unbelievable development, because I'll tell you why. This is going to happen in cities and towns all across Massachusetts. It's going to happen in Rhode Island. It's going to happen in Maine. It's going to happen in Vermont. It's going to happen in California. It's going to happen in New York. It's going to happen in Illinois. According now to these crazy environmentalists, they say that trash pickup affects damages the environment, pollutes too much, and is bad for climate change. Well, okay, so now they're going to go from, remember, we used to have twice a week trash pickup. I remember those, and that wasn't that wasn't too long ago. So we went from twice a week to once a week to now once every 2 weeks. Now, as many residents are pointing out, and this woman really is a lunatic. She's crazy. Medford already has a rodent infestation problem. Okay, rats. The city is crawling with rats. Rats already are eating away at garbage. They're going around. They got a problem with the rat population already. Do you know what leaving garbage out for 2 freaking weeks, say, on the side of the house or whatever, as it piles up, do you know what that's going to do to the local rat population and the rodent infestation problem? It is going to explode. You might as well just rename Medford the rat city, the city of rats. So it's going to lead to a massive rodent infestation problem. That's already going to happen. In the summertime, when it gets hot and sweltering, it is going to stink. It is going to stink. Your streets are going to stink. The side of your homes are going to stink. Your neighborhoods are going to stink. The garbage, the smell. So you're now going to be having residents of Medford literally living in garbage. But I'm going to call her out. As I said on X, and I'm going to repeat it right now, I don't believe the real reason is going green. She's a fanatic. She's an environmental fanatic. There's no question. No. This is what happens when illegal immigration is so out of control that it literally now strains basic services. They can't afford to even pick up the freaking trash because so much of the money is going to illegals. And that's the problem. They've given so much to illegals, they can't afford now to pick up your garbage. And now you, the citizens today of Medford, are going to have to be living in trash because of what they've done regarding illegal immigration. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, trust me when I tell you this, okay? This is not just one of these insane local stories that is now being picked up by national outlets. This story is the next frontier of liberalism. This is the future of quote-unquote urban cities and urban planning. And just to be very specific, this is already very common in Europe. The crazy environmentalists and the leftists in Europe, I'm talking in cities like Germany, Amsterdam, the Netherlands, the city of Amsterdam, but in cities in across Western Europe, Denmark, they're already rolling back trash pickup to 2 times a month, once every 2 weeks. So this is started among the European left, the Green Party in particular, and now it's jumped the Atlantic. It's in Medford right now. But as I speak to you, Mamdani is looking at it. You've got Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago is looking at it. Karen Bass is looking at it in L.A. You have this crazy socialist mayor-elect now in Seattle. She's looking at it. So this is now going to... You live in Rhode Island. They're looking at this right now as a model for them as well. Across Massachusetts, in cities and towns, they're saying that's the future. Pick up garbage once every 2 weeks. They ultimately want to take it to once a month. This is boiling the frog slowly. So you have this crazy moonbat mayor. And by the way, I want to apologize to Mike because, you read her name. It's Brianna Lungo, hyphen Koehn, right? So you think either Cohn or Cohen. No, she calls herself Kern. Mike is right. I apologize. Where you get the R, I don't know, but let that go. So, according to Moonbat Mayor, Brianna Lungo Kern, she now says, for the good of the environment, to fight climate change, you're only going to get your trash picked up once every 2 weeks in Medford. Rats, you're going to see an explosion in the rat population. I'm telling you. You watch June, July, August, it is going to stink. That whole city is going to stink. These people are insane. And I want you to think about now the future that they're starting to set up for us. Is this now our future where we're condemned to live in trash? Like literally live in garbage? Look at Brookline. Sandy's completely right. She said they had a trash problem this summer where there wasn't regular pickup. Yeah, because of a contract, debate or a contract problem. And the city literally, it stank to high heaven. It was disgusting. Okay, but that's because of a contract dispute. Okay, that gets resolved. This is policy. This is it. This is the wave of the future. And they want this in city after city after city after city. And not just in Massachusetts. I really want to stress this. Now, I want to read and by the way, all of this, and I predicted this, is because of the crushing costs of sanctuary cities, being a sanctuary state, and of illegal immigration. When you're giving out $30,000 in housing vouchers, $4,000 in EBT cards, EBT cash assistance every month, when you're giving out catered meals, when you're giving out free cable, free phones, free everything, free health care, free education, it's going to eventually impact basic social services. It's inevitable. You can't be spending billions and billions and billions on illegals. It's got to come from somewhere. Now it's coming from the garbage pickup. That's literally, now they're not picking up your trash. And this is going to happen now in every single sanctuary state across the entire country. So for illegals, it's not enough now that you have to pay for them everything a la free, but you've got to live in squalor and garbage. This is the future of America if we don't stop this. Now, this is from 508. You can text the Kuhner man, 70470, 70470. And this is from 508. Jeff, I used to live in Medford. Medford was once a blue-collar town people were proud to live in. Now, people are only proud when they leave Medford. I mean, this is sad. I mean, seriously, man, this is sad. This is what they're doing to cities and towns all over the country. Really, I mean, this is a disgrace. Okay, this is from Mark on Messenger. Jeff, as you know, I live in Medford. And yes, you are correct. It is infested with rats and rodents. So much so, I actually had to have one of our recycling bins and trash barrels replaced because the rats chewed through it. This mayor is out of her freaking mind. She has been this way since the first day she took office. But if this is what the liberal moonbats want, Jeff, then I don't want to hear them complain about it when it gets worse. And Mark, trust me, it is going to get worse. So let me set the table, and then I want to start taking calls right away on the other side. Should we be reducing trash pickup to twice a month to fight climate change and save the environment? I say these people are insane. And is this now our future in at least blue cities and blue states across the entire country? Literally, I'm not just cleaning up the liberal bull, cleaning up the liberal trash. Okay, 617-266-6868. Mark in Medford just messaged me a couple minutes ago saying, Jeff, you know, Medford is known as the city of trees. You're right. No, with this, soon it's going to be known as the city of rats. This is an unbelievable proposal, but it is the tip of the iceberg. They want this now for cities all across the Northeast, New England, and across the entire country. And so my question now to you, should we start reducing trash pickup, once every 2 weeks? Liberals say yes. I say they stink. But that's me. I want to hear from you. Larry in Arkansas. You're going to kick us off, Larry. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jeff.
Happy Thanksgiving, Larry. All the best to you and your family, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Did you see that Trump had pardoned 2 turkeys, Waddle and Gobble?
Yeah, I saw that. What was that, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer?
That's what he wanted. Oh, wait. Breaking news, Jeff. Breaking news. A liberal judge has just overturned the pardon, saying it's not fair.
Larry, are you shocked now that the Moonbats are saying basically you got to live with a lot more trash, and they're only going to collect it and pick it up now every 2 weeks, Larry? I mean,
Jeff,
do
you were
you like
talking
that idea, Larry? Do you think, you think more trash is better for a neighborhood? I'm just curious.
Oh, it's insane. I thought it was bad where I lived in Belmont, where trash was once a week, but recycling was twice a week. Because the recycling would pile up, even though there's no stink to it or anything like that. Now, so down here, so you can love this. I had a choice. I could pay for trash pickup because I live outside the city limits, about $360 a year, or go to the dump whenever I want. I chose going to the dump. I'll handle it that way. But see, now Belmont, very prestigious town, had a huge rat problem that they kept under wraps. And it was still it was once a week with the trash, but, with all the the bigger problem with the rats, too, is all the construction where they're digging up and laying foundations and getting into the sewer system, it draws the rats out and into people's homes. This is just going to make it worse. You're correct on that. But, I'm not one, protesting is fine. We've had rallies and stuff. I'm never one for, crossing the line. But in this case, I would suggest every resident, if this goes through, every resident of Medford, every other week should take their trash to the mayor's office and just leave it.
I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, this is, again, I'm not encouraging this. Please don't get me wrong, because I don't ever want to break the law. But you're really pushing citizens now. You're pushing their backs against the wall. People don't want to live in garbage. And I'm telling you, really, in the summer especially, my God, it's going to stink. It's going to stink. You keep the trash inside your home in the in the garage, it's going to stink. You leave it on the side of your house as you wait, it's going to stink. These people are not normal. And, notice they get more fanatical and more fanatical and more fanatical. There's no limit to them. And so, no, I think the residents are going to be pushed to the point that they're not going to take it. And the shocking thing, Larry, is she sends out this press release. I'm not kidding, to pat herself on the back, how she won just another environmentalist award. Okay. Another one. And then that she got this ridiculous not she personally, but the city, got a $200,000 grant. And that this is such an incredible thing what they're doing with this. Oh, my $200,000. Like they won, I don't know what, some kind of a $1 billion lottery or something. But it's buried something like a dozen paragraphs in the press release. By the way, on her own, without the approval of the city council, we are now going to reduce trash pickup from once a week to once every 2 weeks. So, and by the way, the residents are overwhelmingly against it, blank them. The city council is overwhelmingly against it, blank them. Businesses, homeowners, taxpayers, overwhelmingly against it, blank them. This woman is acting like a freaking dictator. And that's what they do in city after city after city. And look, I think, Larry, their goal is to third worldize the United States. I think there's no question now. So, and by the way, this, where they hardly ever pick up the trash, that's Caracas. I'm not trying to insult Venezuela, but that's the third world. That's Mexico City. That's Bogota. I mean, you see trash everywhere. And you go, yeah, they pick it up once a month. And that's, by the way, that's their end goal. When you push this crazy mayor, okay, Brianna Lungo-Kern, and you say, well, what's your ultimate goal? She'll tell you to your face, once a month. I mean, if they could have it their way, never pick up the trash, ever. But, you got to pick up the trash. Yeah, like showering once a week. No, you're completely right, Sandy. Only shower once a week is good for the environment. Only use 2 tissues of toilet paper when you do number 2. I'm serious. When you take a dump, forgive me. Remember that? No, save the environment. I'm like, no, man. I don't want to stink. Wipe yourself properly after you go to the bathroom. So this is what they're doing. So they're making human beings more filthy, and they're making cities and towns and neighborhoods more filthy, all in the name of quote unquote, climate change. Larry, final word to you, my friend.
Well, Jeff, you had brought up people keeping it in their garages. That's a problem with Medford, and it's not an insult to Medford, but the way Medford's laid out, it's a lot of 3 and 4 family homes. There are no garages. So it is, you're right, it is, most of it would have to be kept outside. And yeah, it's just, I'm with you in the camp of they're trying to save money for other reasons. They're not trying to be environmentally friendly. But I also laugh, did this just come out? Because it seems like she was trying to pull a fast one, releasing it during a holiday week when everyone's focused on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this was recent. Yeah, this was very recent. No, you're right. That's the other thing. Everybody's, traveling, thinking of Thanksgiving, buying food at the grocery store, planning to have family and friends over. And she just snuck this baby in. Just snuck it in, like the good little dictator that she is.
I think you're going to see a citizens' revolt after a while because, unlike Venezuela and these other places that have been used to this kind of corruption, Americans are only going to be pushed so far and be, bamboozled, I should say, with this environmental stuff and different things so far, and they're going to start to revolt. And like I said, it's happening in those blue states, but it's not happening necessarily in the red states. People are going to start to notice a difference that the red states have more freedoms because I'm not dealing with near the restrictions you guys are up in Massachusetts anymore. I'm not trying to just keep digging that in, but it's insane.
No, really. It's like the Berlin Wall. No, really, Larry, all kidding aside, it's really almost like the Berlin Wall with the difference between, blue states and red states. It's like, you're Western Europe, we're Eastern Europe. You're West Germany, we're East Germany. Like, more and more, we look at you and you're like, oh, wow, that's the real America. We're basically under communist occupation. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. It really is. And look, I'm telling you, this is going to blow up in the Democrats' face. This is such naked mismanagement. This is it's fanatical incompetence. Like, the woman has a serious screw loose. She's not right in the head. I'm telling you, you're crazy. Anyway, Larry, as always, thank you so much. And again, happy Thanksgiving. 617-266-6868. Now, let me tell you what everybody's predicting. And by the way, if you're an exterminator, I'm serious, okay? Go to Medford. You're going to make a killing. You want to be an instant millionaire? Set up a rat extermination business and go to Medford. And people, I'm urging everybody, look at the contracts that this woman is going to issue regarding rat and rodent extermination and dealing with rodent infestation. Because I smell corruption. Because you are going to have so many freaking rats. It's going to be like out of a horror movie. I mean, with that kind of garbage piling up and just sitting there day after day after day for 2 weeks at a time, especially when the temperature gets to 90, 95, 100, 105 degrees in the summer. I don't want to be in Medford. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to be in Medford. How much time left, Mike? All right. I don't want to rush it. Let me ask all of you. Liberals now say, in order to protect the environment and fight so-called climate change, we need to reduce trash pickup from once a week to twice a month. Okay, 648 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. It's now made national news. It's a national story. It's not just a local story. It's a national story because it's now where the green movement is now taking us. So Medford has a crazy mayor, Moonbat Mayor, Brianna Lungo Kern, even though her last name is spelled Koehn. So anyway, she calls herself Kern. I'll call her Kern. Now, she has told residents, in fact, she's ordered residents, that from this point, I think next summer, starting in July next summer, that they will now have to face trash pickup of only once every 2 weeks. She says this needs to be done to help save the planet, to help protect the environment, and to help stop climate change, which she says will kill us all. It's an existential threat to humanity. And so apparently, not picking up trash is a way to help the climate. I'm not joking. That's not what she's claiming. So residents are rightly up in arms. They already have a massive rat rodent problem. This is going to make it infinitely worse. Now, I just want to read something from 603. You can text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470. And this is what I mean when I say how insane, truly insane, fanatical, I'm sorry, stupid, modern environmentalism, modern liberalism has become. Because 603 is completely correct. This is the elephant in the room. Jeff, how will picking up the trash half as much reduce the amount of trash? It's basic math and basic physics. If you pick up trash half as much, the trash crews will be picking up twice the amount of trash when they do their pickups, which will then create all kinds of problems for the trash crews when they're doing their rounds. The trucks will fill up twice as fast, and then they'll have to make twice the trips to the refuse centers to empty those trucks, taking twice the time. Then they'll run out of time on their on their shifts, leaving other areas without being picked up. Jeff, liberals are a solution in search of a problem. The problem is their solutions don't work, and they only create more problems. Now, here it comes, and this is so true. Truth be told, Jeff, this isn't about quote-unquote environmentalism or about quote-unquote reducing pollution. The real motivation behind implementing insane policies like this is about lowering the standard of living for everyone living in the West. That's, except for the elites. Notice their standard of living keeps getting higher and higher and higher. They've never made more money. They've never been wealthier. But for the rest of us, you're completely right. This is about reducing our standard of living in every way possible. And now they want us to live in trash. It's just, you can't make this up. John in Malden. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
Hey, morning, Jeff. How you doing?
Very good. How are you, John?
So far, so good. Malden's going to deal with the Proposition 2.5 of the override. Mel's gone through already with it, and ours going to be like in February voting on it. It's ridiculous, and this is going to all extend down to the same thing for the trash to be picked up twice a week.
You mean once every 2 weeks?
Yeah, every 2 weeks. I mean,
yeah, every 2 weeks. Well, I know, and look, and John, I don't mean to cut you off. I'll let you finish, I promise. But you know, the thing is, how do I say this? You're still picking up the same amount of trash. You're just letting it sit there for much longer. So this is what I find, like, I'm like, you're like, to the liberals, I'm like, your logic doesn't make sense. So what are you saving? What environment are you protecting? You know, so in other words, so you're going to be picking up the same amount of trash. You're just going to be it's going to be sitting outside for much longer. That's all you're doing. And making everything stink and the stench and attract more rats. And God knows what else you're going to attract. So how is this helping the planet? And is this now what liberals want for every city and every town? Like, why don't we just not pick up the trash at all? Well, really, if somehow you think trash is, God forbid we should collect trash, that somehow this is bad for the earth or bad for the planet, okay, so we can live like in Bombay, in India, or in Calcutta, or, Caracas, where it's just piles of trash, mountains of trash everywhere. And you see these kids, they just play in it all day. Is that what they want for us? And then the wealthy elites live in these clean gated communities? And the rest of us, we're just surrounded in trash and living in trash? John, I know the Moonbats in Medford are crazy. I understand that. And they voted for this woman. I understand that. But for God's sake, I think even the Moonbats in Medford, I don't think they want to live in trash. I mean, they're not animals. Or am I wrong?
What is good? Larry was right. If you're going to fight it, you got to throw the trash. Well, not throw the trash, but lay the trash on the sidewalk around City Hall and even the city yards. And I think too, Jeff, if you don't realize it, people aren't going to realize it. We're going to form a plague. Another plague is going to be coming if we do this. With the stink and everything else, and then the germs and everything else. No, the rats. But we're going to have another plague.
Oh, the bacteria. Oh, you're dead on, John. You're dead on. The bacteria, the viruses, the rats, the stink. I mean, it's unsanitary. It's unhealthy. These people are nuts. Look, John, I'm not calling for it. I'm not. But I don't think you're going to stop it. I think you're going to see citizens say, you know what, they may put up with it for like a month. And after that, they'll say, go dump it on the mayor's office, right on the lawn in front of the, municipal hall or city hall or whatever. I mean, she's courting a rebellion. Look, I'll tell you this. I'm paying taxes through the nose if I'm living in Medford. And by the way, look, iHeart is based in Medford. Okay, we broadcast out of Medford. There are some, businesses here that pay a lot in taxes. They want a clean environment, for God's sake. Honestly, we have, business people that come in, managers that come in, clients that come in. So there's going to be trash all over the office buildings here in Medford. And it's going to stink. And so we're trying to, say our management here is trying to cement an important multi-million-dollar deal that's going to keep everybody's jobs. And they're coming in and like they're holding their noses outside. Like the businesses are going to revolt. The residents are going to revolt. And the taxpayers have to ask themselves, where the hell is my taxpayer money going? You guys now can't even pick up it's not even twice a week or 3 times a week, God forbid. Once a week is too much for you guys to pick up the garbage now? Because you've given that much away to the illegals? So much that now you can't even do the basics of picking up my freaking garbage? John, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. I hate to be that guy. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. This is to the liberals and the Moonbats. Schools will be next. Hospitals will be next. You're already seeing it with the roads. So the more that goes to the illegals, the less there is for everything else. 6-1, agree, disagree. Lou in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Lou, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Jeff, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. And for all the complainers who I hear all week long for the last 2 weeks complaining about Trump, we better be darn thankful that we've got Trump in the office there, because the alternative is the abyss. And garbage is the perfect metaphor for the Democrat Party. Everything turns to garbage. And I was just thinking just for a second ago, can you imagine restaurants having to do this? Leaving their garbage out for weeks at a time, or it's ridiculous. I mean, this is so crazy. It's beyond belief. And I think I brought this up to you a couple of weeks ago, is that Bill Gates despite Epstein and everything. He came out and said that the climate change is no big deal recently. He said we can live with climate change. We if there's a temperature raise, we'll adapt to it. We'll live with it. This climate change is a scam. We've already spent like $900 billion on a climate bill, this green bill. This green thing is a scam. And not only that, in Rhode Island, they had the head of Rhode Island Energy on a radio show not long ago. 14% of what we pay in our our energy bills here goes to this. Goes to climate stuff. It's crazy. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. And you're talking about liberalism. Remember, you say it's a mental disorder. If we live in these blue states, we're led by people with serious mental disorders. Is that what we want? But that's what we got. And there's a couple other points I want to make too, because I think you've been dwelling on this quite a bit lately. As you say, you're going to host a Republican debate. If the Republican Party and these blue states don't try to step up a little bit and start addressing these issues, then it's going to get even worse. And they got to stop being go along and get along Republicans and start actually hard nosed going after these issues and these crazy people. I mean, it's garbage is one thing. I mean, I look around the country and I see all the stuff that comes out of these Democrat. The crime in Chicago is out of hand. They have this big scandal in Minneapolis now, where the Somali fraud group has taken $250 million. A lot of it's gone overseas. A lot of it's gone to criminal gangs overseas in Somalia. This is crazy. The Democrats are absolutely nuts. If they're the alternative, we're just going right down to hell. I'm telling you.
Well, look, this is trash. I agree with everything what you're saying, Lou. Please don't get me wrong. You're right about the Somali fraud in Minnesota regarding this food stamp program. It's disgusting. He's crazy. I mean, he's literally insane. He's like cuckoo, wee-oo. You've got now this mayor of Chicago. I can play you the cut. I don't want to waste your time. Where he's now defending violent criminals. I'm not talking about illegal aliens. He's defending murderers and rapists. He's defending them, saying that putting them behind jail is immoral. It's racist and immoral to put a convicted murderer in jail, a mass murderer in jail, a rapist in jail. That's the mayor of Chicago. Chicago. You can't make this up. But we're talking now about trash. Look, I remember this was in socialist Canada, for God's sake. We had trash pickup twice a week. It was twice a week. It was expected to be twice a week. I know because I spoke to, my neighbors in Massachusetts they go, oh, no, twice a week. Used to be twice a week. Now it's all once a week. So, we should be getting trash pickup at least for the taxes that we pay at least twice a week. And recycling, if you're into that, at least once a week. Where I live, I get trash pickup once a week. And even then, they only allow you one bag. If I want to get a second bag, I have to buy what's called a purple bag. These purple bags at like a Stop and Shop or one of these grocery stores. And they charge me, what is it, like $10 for 3 bags or whatever it is. And so I got to put any other bag in that purple bag or else they won't pick it up. And recycling is once every 2 weeks. So I'm paying over $10,000 in property taxes. And all you guys can do is pick up one trash bag a week and recycling bin once every 2 weeks. That's it. And I got to pay more for a second or a third bag. So what am I paying taxes for? Like, I'd love to know, where is this money going? Now, I'd love to ask the mayor of Medford the very same thing. Where is all the money going? Now, I know the answer. Because it's all to illegals and her cronies and graft and corruption. There's no question. But you look at this and you're like, so now you want us to live in trash, in garbage, in filth. That's what you want us to live with on a daily basis. And Lou, you're right. The restaurants. Oh my God. Because you know how much trash they produce because they're restaurants. And this thing is going to pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up. So is this what we want to breathe? Is this what we want to smell? There's going to be an outbreak. The residents of Medford better be ready. You're going to have some kind of an outbreak. This is unhealthy. This is unsanitary. How does the city council even take this? And apparently they're complaining on Facebook. Okay, that's nice. You're complaining on Facebook. The residents got to do a little more than complain about Facebook. They've got to go and tell this crazy mayor, the answer is no. You work for us. We don't work for you. We pay your salary. We pay the taxes. Do you understand? So it's going to be once a week. It should be twice, but we're going to once a week, full stop, end of story. It's up to the residents of Medford. Thank you for that call, Lou. 617-266-6868 is the number. Like, this is about your dignity. It's about your health. It's about your home, your neighborhood, your street, your quality of life. Like, honestly, to me, this is about your self-respect. And so it's almost like, one of these hoarders where they just live in, in garbage and in dirt and in filth. And there's got to be a certain point where, like, look, where's your pride? Well, this is like hoarding, but on a public city level. You're going to be buried under trash. I'm sorry. It's insulting. Seriously, it's insulting. 617-266. And by the way, I'm happy you mentioned Bill Gates. Bill Gates now has finally revealed the whole thing is a scam. Climate change, man-made climate change is a scam. He's admitted it. It's all been one big scam. Yes, the climate changes. It's always been changing. As Sandy pointed out to me rightly, Greenland. You know why it's called Greenland? Because literally at one time, 600-700 years ago, it was green. Because they had a massive warming spell in the Middle Ages. And literally it was green. Now it's tundra up there. It's cold. Because the climate changes. There's a cooling period, there's a warming period, there's a cooling period. This has been going on for thousands of years, well documented. It's nothing to do with man-made climate change, fossil fuels, oil, gas, carbon. This is a scam that they invented. Al Gore. Al Gore was the one who came up with this scam along with George Soros. And I think what you're starting to see now, this is the end of the road. You can see it now. You've got Bill Gates defecting, saying this is a lie. You've got windmills now, the backlash against windmills. They destroy the environment more than clean coal does. It's not even an issue. There's no question. If you love the environment, you must hate windmills. You've got EVs now, electric vehicles, where the charging stations are falling apart. And they don't have the money or it's too expensive to fix the charging stations. So you got all these people now who were told to buy an electric vehicle for the quote-unquote environment, and we can't even charge our cars. There's no charging stations anywhere. So the entire environmental movement, this radical green movement, is now hitting a ditch because people see it for what it is. Karl Marx famously said, religion is the opium of the people. Right? That was his famous line. He was a liar, like everything else Marx said. But what the truth is that climate change has been the opium of the progressive elites. Climate change became for the left their substitute religion. They abandon God. They abandon Christianity. They abandon religion. And they had to find something else to replace it, to give them existential meaning in their life. And so what did they end up doing? They returned to paganism. The worship of Mother Earth, Gaia. And now they're realizing it's a false god. It's a false god, and it was a false church with a lot of scammers, a lot of grifters who made a lot of money. And now we in the West have paid a tremendous price. And this is now where it's taking us. This is the ultimate logical culmination of the radical green movement. You must live in garbage and trash in order to, quote unquote, save the planet. So remember, they kept talking about a clean economy, clean energy, clean environment. And what do they give us? Garbage and trash. 617, not that they live in it, we live in it. 617-266-6868. Dave in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. All the best to you and your family, Dave.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, you guys already touched on it a little bit, but I was going to say, yeah, this is going to increase a lot of illegal dumping. You know what I mean? Any dumpster that's open, at someone's house or at a company, people are going to use them. People are going to throw it in the woods, on the side of the road. They're not going to tolerate that. And what about like the companies, whatever, the trash companies? I mean, don't they have contracts for this stuff? I mean, how are they going to do it? I mean, if they're going to change it so they're only doing it.
Can you do me a favor? This is such an important point, Dave. You are dead on. Please hang on. I'm up against a hard break, Dave. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from Judy on Messenger. And she's referring to the crazy moonbat mayor, the woke mayor of Medford, Brianna Lungo Kern. Jeff, don't forget, she's also an animal lover. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Okay, before I get into this, 7:20 Wednesday, you know what that means. Truth or troll. Take it away, Mike.
And now, America's favorite game show, where you get to decide on the Kuhner Report. This is Truth or Troll.
Today's entry for Truth or Troll comes from President Trump speaking to reporters in the Oval Office alongside New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. When Trump is asked if he could feel comfortable living in New York under Mamdani's leadership, this is what he had to say.
Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on, tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought, and when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, just turned out to be a statistical truth. But, no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting.
So Trump says he would feel comfortable living in New York now. Do you think he's just trolling there, or do you think he's actually telling the truth, Jeff?
Oh, he's trolling. Mike, I'm telling you, this is a 1,000% troll. I mean, he's a billionaire, and Mamdani is vowing to chase all the billionaires out of New York City. And if he can, confiscate all their money and their property. If I'm Trump, well, think about it. He's in Mar-a-Lago. He's not living in New York. He's not planning. If Mamdani is so great, how come Trump said, hey, guys, let's get a condo. Let's get a little something in New York City. No. From what I'm hearing, they're trying to divest out of New York. So, no, I think he was just, playing Mamdani, playing him like a fiddle and, blowing him kisses and setting Mamdani up to fail. In other words, oh, yeah, love the guy. And then when the guy does an absolute horrible job, Trump's going to turn around and say, can't blame me. I wanted him to succeed. You saw him with me in the White House. I practically kissed the guy on both cheeks. So I think he's trolling, but I'm going to ask the audience. Trump says he could comfortably live in New York under Mamdani. He says he has no problem living under Mamdani if he was to go back to New York. Do you think he's telling the truth, A, or B, he's trolling? I think it's B, but that's me. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in National ER. You can also vote via X, my handle there, at The Kuhner Report, all one word, at The Kuhner Report, KUHNER. Okay, I want to go right back to Dave in New Hampshire. Just very quickly, Judy in Messenger saying about that Moonbat mare in Medford. Jeff, don't forget, she's also an animal lover. Well, and she wants to make sure the rats have enough food to eat. Laugh out loud. Jeff, I work in Medford, and there's rats everywhere. It's disgusting. Well, now, Judy, you're going to get a lot more rats. With that trash pickup now being rolled back to once every 2 weeks, yeah. And, the vermin, the rats, the garbage, there's going to be diseases. I'm telling you, this mayor is asking for trouble. Anyway, just my opinion. Okay, let's go right back to Dave in New Hampshire. Dave, please pick up where you left off, my friend.
Okay, and before I finish, if you could let me make one comment on that curbside composting. But what I was saying is, that this is going to cause a problem with the trash companies, waste management and so forth, because they have contracts and everything. And she's saying that the prices aren't going to get raised, like it's a good thing, you're getting half the service. But if they start causing problems and now these guys, aren't working as much, or, whatever problems it's going to cause, and it will cause problems, it's going to cost more because first of all, companies will pull out, and you know what I mean? It's just going to become more of a fiasco. And you'll end up at a point where there'll be no one to pick up the trash because they're not going to just say, oh, okay, well, we're only going to work 2 weeks a month. You know what I mean? They work every day. They're not going to just suddenly go to, oh, okay, well, we work this week and then next week we're off or whatever, and then the following week we pick up the trash. It's not going to work like that. So, you know what I mean? It's going to create problems, which is going to cause, the price to go up. But trash,
I agree.
Well, never mind.
It's a brilliant point. It's a brilliant point. And look, my prediction, it's going to end up costing the city even more money. Like only a liberal can do this. It's the reverse Midas touch. Everything they touch, they turn to garbage. More rats, more stench, more stink, more trash, and higher costs. That's the liberal way. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I mean flooded with texts. I mean seriously, flooded, deluged, with many of you saying pretty much the same thing. Why are the residents of Medford putting up with this? Why aren't the residents of Medford telling this crazy mayor to stuff it? And look, I think we can break the mayor. I really do. And we can stop this now dead in its tracks before it expands to other towns, other cities. not just in Massachusetts. I really want to stress this. Maine is looking at this. Vermont is looking at this. Rhode Island, just across the border from where I live, they're looking at it. New York, Mamdani wants this for New York City. That's 8.5 million people. I'm not talking about a suburb of Boston like Medford, which is bad enough as it is, don't get me wrong. But he wants this in the 5 boroughs. In the name of, again, the environment and climate change. Karen Bass is looking at this. San Francisco is looking at this. Chicago is looking at this. So this for them is like, this is their vanguard. They see this now as, no. We got to stop. We got to convince the masses, picking up trash is bad. That garbage is good. Piling up garbage is good. Living with garbage is good. So if they see a massive blowback in Medford, and they see that, whoa, the mayor really took it on the chin. The mayor really got massive political blowback. It's going to make them rethink this in other, states and cities and towns. But you can't be passive. So look, I tweeted about this, X. I don't know what the term is now when you go on X. But anyway, I was on X yesterday, and I pushed out 2 tweets on this, exposing the mayor for her crazy plan to reduce trash pickup to once every 2 weeks. And one of the tweets in particular, I lay it out saying, this is all about, offsetting the costs of illegal immigration. You bring in all these illegals, you're going to start to see social services strain. Now they can't even afford to pick up the freaking trash. So, hello, sanctuary city. Hello, sanctuary state. Please go on X. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report. It's all one word. If you don't follow me, please do. At the Kuhner Report. All one word, Kuhner. And like the tweet, resend or repost the tweet. Get the information out there. Because I'm telling you, if the people of Medford know about this, they are going to take it to the streets, and I mean peacefully. They are going to flood her with emails, texts. They're going to let this crazy mayor know. The answer is no. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is a message I got from Anna in Medford, and here is what she wrote to me about this crazy mayor, Brianna Lungo Kern. Jeff, you're talking about the trash situation in Medford. She doesn't care, the mayor, because she's building a house in Winchester. Oh, I had no idea. It doesn't surprise me. So she doesn't care about Medford anymore. Unbelievable. And then Anna continues, Jeff, we are livid here in Medford. We're already infested with rats and foxes. Too many libtards living in this city, according to Anna. I'm just reading from her message. And this mayor is one of them. I've known her for years. I went to school with her. She needs to get out of office. She is making the city worse every year she's in office. And by the way, this wasn't even on the ballot. So we have been blindsided by this. And yes, we have so many restaurants in this city. The trash is going to pile up and pile up high. It's your city. It's your neighborhood. It's your community. The liberals now literally want you to live in trash, in garbage, with rats and vermin. I can't put self-respect into you. It has to come from you. I mean, if you're not going to stand up for this, I don't know what else to tell you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, lines are blazing. Bob in Malden. Thanks for holding, Bob, and welcome.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there in Kuhner country.
Happy Thanksgiving, Bob. All the best to you and your family.
I grew up in South Medford. People had common sense a long time ago. I don't know what happened, but we used to have actually a garbage man. I used to help the guy. He used to come from Raleigh, Massachusetts. He owned a pig farm. He used to do the method. You go in the back of the yard. People used to put their leftovers, their food, just food, in this little pails, and they used to pick it up and put it in the garbage truck and take it up to Raleigh and feed it to the pigs. And now they changed everything, so now they throw everything in the trash. But she also, I live in Malden now, but she wants you to separate that again. So you're going to have all kinds of problems. You're going to have sitting there for 2 weeks. Food products are just going to be rotten, and there's going to be rats everywhere. Neighbors are going to be fighting neighbors. You see it all the time. Like, if you live next door to someone and the guy's like, doesn't clean that thing, he's got all kinds of stuff going, growing. There's an animosity there. People are going to be pulling out of Medford. The restaurant owners, the business owners, they're not going to, where the hell are they going to keep the trash? Where are they going to put it? And it just gets crazy. And one more thing, one thing that already does stink, when you sit in traffic for a long time because of these long bike lanes where all kinds of crazy vehicles are in them, you sit there and the emissions from the cars just keep on going, and all the marijuana smell. Like, that's not enforced, that law. You hear Mayor will go, we got the safest city. I don't think no tickets are ever written for the marijuana law, let alone people being on the texting or being on their phones while they're driving. Like, I don't get what's happening to this. This country is turning into a third world country. We don't stop it now. We'll be speaking Spanish before we know it. On to you now, buddy.
Bob, thank you again. And you're on fire, by the way. No, we're becoming third world. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's the goal. See, that's the plan. To reduce our standard of living, to reduce our freedoms, and to basically have us become used to living in a third world society. Of course, while they live in their gated communities. That's how the political, the ruling class, they live behind the gates, and they have their cars and their homes and their mansions and their cleaning ladies. And believe me, their trash is picked up every day. Forget once a week, every day. But for you and me, not so much. And look, I'm not trying to cause a panic. I'm just stating the obvious. What Bob said is right. The trash is going to get bad, and it's going to get worse and worse. The restaurant owners are going to say this is unsustainable. Neighbors are going to start turning on neighbors. And here's what's going to happen. It's guaranteed. They already have a problem with rats. You're going to get 2-3 times the rat, rodent, vermin population in a very unclean, unsafe environment, a dirty, filthy environment. These rats carry diseases. These vermin carry diseases. It's inevitable. It's just common sense. They're going to bite somebody. Duh. And it's going to start to spread disease. Like, you're asking for trouble. And by the way, this is civic planning, urban planning 101. Every mayor used to know this. Every person used to know this. No, you have to have regular trash pickup. Why? Because if not, it's going to get dirty, and when it's dirty, the rats come out, and when the rats come out, you could get diseases. Like, hello? It's not safe for humans. Hello? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so I'm not making this up. I'm just reading straight now from the New York Post piece, which really blows the whistle on Medford Mayor Brianna Lungo Kern and this insane idea now to reduce trash collection every 2 weeks, from once a week to now once every 2 weeks. So, is there a shortage of money in Medford? Am I missing something? And I mean, like, she's going on about this $200,000 grant that she got from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, this pay-as-you-throw grant. So she basically now, here's what she's come out and said, that the new baseline, I'm reading directly now from her press release, for trash service will equate to 32 gallons per household per week. So essentially, every 2 weeks, you're going to have a 64-gallon bag. And they're going to scoop up that 64-gallon bag. So she says, well, that's 32 gallons a week. I mean, it just may sit there for 2 weeks, but it's 32 gallons for 1 week, and then, which is the size of a regular trash bag, and then another regular trash bag. And what, if you exceed the 2 trash bags or the 1 64-gallon bag, like what, yeah, they won't pick up the rest of your trash? Like what, you got to eat it? No, I'm serious. Like, what do you do if you have more than 1 bag? Like, what, like, I'm serious. Just leave it in your backyard? Like, what, eat it? Lick it? Like, I'm serious. What do you do with it? You know, like, feed it to your dog? I mean, I don't. So anyway, and apparently, this is why it's such a big deal for her. She says, because now we're going to keep it to 32 gallons per week per household, which meets the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection's service volume threshold for a pay-T program and makes Medford eligible for the pay-T grant, the pay-as-you-throw grant. And again, it's $200,000. So in other words, what she's saying is, I swear to you, in plain English, if we can just get this to once every 2 weeks and limit the trash pickup to 32 gallons a week, in other words, 1 garbage bag a week, that's 64 gallons in 2 weeks, we get the $200,000 from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. $200,000, yay! Are you that desperate for cash in Medford? That you got to force your citizens to live with rats and vermin and live with trash and garbage for a lousy $200,000 grant? By the way, now I'm starting to wonder, because it goes, in theory, it goes to the city. I want to check her personal bank account. I want to know how much of that $200,000, is it really going to the city? Or is it some kind of a slush fund? Or is somehow money shifting in different accounts? Because this woman is acting, I'm serious, like she just won $1 billion lottery for Medford. Yay! 200,000, 200K. Yeah. Look, if it means 200,000, if it means that much to the people in Medford, that they got to basically live in trash, let me talk to the owners of iHeart. I'll see what I can do. And maybe they'll just cut Medford a $200,000 check. Okay? Here's a $200,000 check. Put the trash pickup now back to once a week. Okay? I mean, if you really need the money that bad. I swear you can't make this up. 617-266-6868. David in Brookline. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all the listeners.
Happy Thanksgiving. All the best to you and your family, David.
Thank you. I think I'd like to be the stream of consciousness, but known as the voice of the deplorables here in the People's Republic. So a very, very quick metaphor, which fits into exactly what you were saying earlier. Some years ago, I lived in a apartment building in the Boston area, not Gucci level, but, pretty nice, medium. And there was a maintenance issue for about 3 weeks or so, and we didn't have trash pickup. I'm telling you, there were rats the size of poodles in the garage, and they didn't back down when you come down as you're driving into the garage. So the point I'm making is these people are nuts. And as you said, they don't live with what they pass on the rest of us. So I sometimes look at things microcosmically because I've experienced it. And I'm telling you, it will not be a pretty sight. Seeing rats the size of poodles, bigger than Rocky probably, is not a good thing. And then the other point I'd like to make, Jeff, is actually A and B. I make this to you quite often. Do you remember Obama? We got to knock Americans down a few pegs. Remember that?
Yes.
This is knocking us down a few pegs. And finally, the messaging. And I know that the administration listens to your show. If you put it in such the way that you're putting it, if they would message it this way, many people would get it. The issue is much of this green energy, everybody loves the environment. Who doesn't? Much of it is nonsense. What it is control, giving the government more control and power and authority under the guise of helping you, in reality, not helping you, knocking us down a peg. And who makes out? They make out. They don't live with it. It's that simple. And they use all this crap as a means to do it. And if they present, you put it much more simply and eloquently than I did, but if they present it that way, many people a light will go on in their head. And I think that's what's happening. This is nuts.
Well, you're completely right, David. You're, as I like to say, not 100, but 1,000% correct. And look, David, this is, to me, I think what people are starting to wake up now. It's a scam, and they know it's a scam. It's a con. It's a grift. How many times can you predict the end of the world and be wrong? They keep calling MAGA a cult. Really, honestly, these green, these green socialists, these radical environmentalists. I mean, you want to talk about cultists. So they worship this Mother Earth. They have this religion called climate change. They have this church called the Democratic Party. And about every 5 or 7 years, they keep telling us the end is nigh. The end is nigh. It's always the world is coming to an end. It's been going on now for over 40 years. Remember Al Gore? The planet has a fever. Well, he said by 2020, this was 5 years ago, that Boston would be underwater, that New York City, Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that all this would be underwater. And that you would have like parts of Africa, in massive droughts. There would be wildfires all over the world, that the sea levels would be rising, that entire continents would be submerged. And he was so wrong, it's not even funny. And there he is at Dick Cheney's funeral. He's shaking hands. By the way, he's worth now, what is it, almost $1 billion? Off of this whole scam? I mean, he's become an oligarch peddling this garbage. This snake oil. And there he is. He's shaking hands, and of course the Bushes love him, and the Cheneys love him, and he's part of the swamp, and I made my billion, you made your billion, I had my scam, you had your scam. I mean, they're playing us for fools. And I'm going to tell you this, by the way, Al Gore has a beautiful mansion, an Olympic-sized pool, a private jet. This guy doesn't care about carbon emissions. This guy doesn't care about quote-unquote climate change. And his trash, he's got maids and servants around the clock. So, yeah, Al Gore wants our trash picked up every 2 weeks. His trash twice a day. David, thank you very much for that call. Okay, normally we do it on Friday. However, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're off on Friday as well. So we're treating today as a Friday. 8 o'clock, caller of the week, Kuhner's call log. Take it away, Mike.
It's time for Kuhner's Call Log, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, Roy.
Well, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but the guy that's presently sitting in the White House as Donald Trump is not the real Donald Trump. How tall is the real Donald Trump, Jeff? How tall is he?
Roy, you think there's an imposter in the White House?
Yes. How tall is the real Donald Trump?
6'4", something like that?
That's correct. The guy sitting in the White House now is about 5'10", and you'll primarily see him sitting down. After this phone call, you'll probably continue to see him sitting down since the White House listens to these calls on your show. But anyway, that is not Donald Trump. That Donald Trump that's in the White House right now works for the Rothschilds and the Shabbat.
Roy, what happened to the real Donald Trump?
It's not a laughing matter. The real Donald Trump hasn't been seen since the month of June at the G7 conference in Canada. That's the last time the 6'3" Donald Trump was seen. Why? Because the real Donald Trump is now dead.
And next week, it could be you on Kuhner's Call Log.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. You're having a lot of fun there, Mike. I can see that. You know, I swear to you. So we had that call, Roy, last week, that Trump was somehow kidnapped at the G7. He's dead. There's an imposter. He's like 5'10". That's why he's always sitting down. And then, a day later or whatever, the day after the call, Trump had that love fest with Mamdani in the Oval Office. And Trump is sitting down. And as I'm watching this, I swear to God, in my mind, I'm thinking, Roy in Oklahoma. I'm looking, I'm like, son of a gun. Maybe the guy was onto something. Who is that man in the Oval Office? Anyway, so... no, it's not an imposter. It is real. Donald Trump is real. He's not 5'10". He hasn't been kidnapped. No, I think his wife, his kids, everybody who works for him, I think my God, he shrunk 6 inches. Who is this man? I think somebody would have said something. 617-266-6868 is the number. Ellie in Worcester. Thanks for holding, Ellie, and welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Ellie.
You know what? You hit a sore spot with me. I've been doing a lot of research on what was going, with this green thing and the wind farms, okay? And these people are so stupid. They don't know the difference between CO and CO2. CO is carbon monoxide. CO2 is carbon dioxide, which without it, we would have a dead planet, right? So what are they doing with these wind farms on the ocean? All these whales are coming up, the right whales, less than 300 left in the world, right? They're coming up into these windmill farms, and the sound is so loud underneath the water, like up to a mile, that they get separated from their babies because it's so loud. Because I heard it. They did a recording, and it's like 2 pieces of flat wood clapping really loud underwater. It literally strikes them blind and deaf, right? And they get separated from their babies. They can't even find their babies. These are living, air-breathing mammals underwater. And they're dying like crazy because not only that, I also heard that the fishermen off the coast of New England, there's dead zones, because everything is getting pushed out or dying from the sound. I think all that we have to start by decommissioning all these wind farms off the coast, because it's killing all the wildlife under the water. And if you've ever heard that sound, it's deafening, absolutely deafening. And talk about separation from church and state. Well, this religion has infiltrated the state, and it's all based on lies. It's all based on lies. There was at least 500 scientists years ago who disagreed with this climate change thing, and they changed it.
Oh, no, you're dead on. In fact, Ellie, just to reinforce what you're saying, it was 500 of the world's leading scientists. Right? I'm not just talking, 500 scientists, from anywhere. I'm talking from MIT, from Harvard, from Yale, from Princeton, from Cambridge, from Oxford, from some of the top universities in France and Germany, all over the world, who said there's no evidence for man-made climate change. Like none. There's zero scientific evidence. There's no, rather than being a quote consensus, there's the opposite of a consensus. There's no evidence. So it was a scam. It was a pack of lies. And I love the way you phrased it. This is our state religion. Climate change, environmentalism, whatever you want to call it, the Green New Deal, green socialism, this is now our state religion. And it's infecting everything. And look, ever since we've had this, it's about, what is it now, 25, 30 years? Look how our standard of living has consistently declined. You don't have a proper toilet bowl anymore. No, really, notice toilets now constantly get clogged. Why? Because of these new environmental standards. You put a couple of tissues of toilet paper in your toilet bowl and bang, it clogs. They control the light bulb you can use. Now they're taxing electricity to the hilt. They're taxing oil and natural gas to the hilt, charging you ridiculous prices. So basically now it costs you an arm and a leg to heat or cool your home because they're trying to force everybody onto solar and wind. By the way, Germany has destroyed its middle class with these insane Green New Deal policies. I mean, the German middle class has literally hollowed out. And the Germans are now waking up to the fact that for a modern industrial economy like Germany, wind and solar cannot power big factories or power a kind of economy that Germany at least used to be. I mean, it's suicide. Literally, it's suicide. So now they're getting to the point that they're telling us we got to preserve scraps of food. We got to all get into composting. Like, are you serious? And now it's getting to the point where you're telling me I have to live with trash and live with filth and vermin and rats and garbage because you're claiming the state religion is so important that it tramples my dignity and my freedoms and my liberty. And by the way, I'm the taxpayer, not them. You're the taxpayer. We're the taxpayer. These windmills have been an environmental disaster. They're killing life under the sea. You're completely right, Ellie. They're killing birds. They're rusting. They're an eyesore. I mean, they're just physically ugly. They're ugly. And they generate little to no power. I've never seen a boondoggle like this in my life. And so, and no, get rid of windmills. It's ridiculous. It's an insane theory. So everything that they have done in the name of climate change has been to destroy our freedom, our liberty, our prosperity, our standard of living, everything. And now we're starting to reach the end goal. And by the way, to give them their due, really, I have to say this, they're not hiding it. They're already telling us now it's going to be once every 2 weeks. Give us a couple more years. It's going to be once a month. So they're telling us, we want you to learn to live with trash and garbage. What they're saying is, you're going to learn to live with the smell. You're going to learn to live with the stench. You're going to learn to live with rats and rodents and vermin. And eventually, like in third world countries, it's just part of the background. You're going to learn to love it. And honestly, to me, this is the perfect metaphor for what they're doing to us in our country. They're drowning us in garbage because they think we're garbage. This is what they honestly think of us. So that's why I'm urging the citizens of Medford, for God's sake, for yourself, for your children, for your family, for your home, for your neighborhood, for your community, ring this mayor's phone off the hook and tell her trash is going to get picked up once a week. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's quality roofing, siding, and windows. Which of the following is the craziest green policy being pushed by the climate change fanatics? A, bi-weekly trash pickup, i.e. picking up trash now, your garbage, once every 2 weeks. B, wind farms. Wind farm power reliance. C, electric vehicle mandates. So which of these three do you think is the craziest of the green policies being pushed by these climate change fanatics? A, picking up your trash every 2 weeks now. B, wind farms. C, EV mandates. I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhn is in national ER. You can also vote via X, and yes, I was active on X last night again. My handle there, all one word, at the Kuhner Report, Kuhner, at the Kuhner Report. It is very tight. As things stand right now, the picking up the trash every 2 weeks, 32.5%. Wind farms, 36%. EV mandates, 31.3%. So, wind farms is currently in the lead, but it's basically almost a third. So, audience, very divided. Okay, let's go to, obviously they're all crazy. It's just, which do you think is crazier? What's the craziest of all three of them? Dave in Chelsea. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
Jeff, I'm going to be honest with you. All the above of them are crazy, so I vote all three of them. All the above are no good to begin with. And, Jeff, what this lady's doing in Medford, she's out of her mind. And one thing that Bob forgot to mention earlier, Jeff, all our trash pickups is supposed to be paid by taxes. Okay, so all the way up until, I'd say, when we had a mayor called Mayor Howard, he made Malden buy the blue trash bags. And why did that happen? Because he owned part of the company that the trash bags were being made. He enforced us to buy trash bags every week for trash, Jeff. And, Jeff, by the way, you're being gypped. You're only getting 3 trash bags for $10?
Yeah, 3 for 10.
Jeff, you need to move up here. We could get 5 for 10.
And what the color for you guys is blue, mine is purple.
Oh, Jeff, just move up a little bit more. Come back here a little bit more. You won't have to travel as far from going to work. You'd be right next door, Jeff. 3 for 10. And if you're nice, you get 4 for 10.
Dave, do you think, I mean, look, you're all over the place. You drive everywhere. Nobody knows this area, the greater Boston area, more than Dave. Okay, I'm just stating a fact. Do you think the people of Medford, the residents, are going to put up with this? I know there are a lot of moonbats there. I get it. I know these moonbats can be really crazy. But do they really want to live in garbage? Like, literally, do they want to live with rats and rodents and trash? Is that what they want to live with? I don't think so. I think they're going to rebel, but that's me. I want to hear from you. Will the people of Medford put up with this? Or maybe they really love their trash. What say you, Dave?
From a very legal point of view, stating this, Jeff, we just got over a trash truck strike. Think of all the... When I was driving out... Jeff, you know I'm all over the map. When I was driving, Jeff, I seen piles and piles and piles piled up out front of houses before they decided to go back to work, before the so-called governor, that she thinks she is, but she really isn't. We know she's an imposter to begin with. Jeff, there was trash on every house, just packed up and just piled up, especially over in Dorchester, in the side streets over there. Jeff, they had trash all over the place. Why should we have to deal with anything like this? This lady's crazy. The entire state couldn't even get their trash taken away because of the strike they were doing. We just came off of a freaking trash truck strike. We don't need another one, Jeff. This lady's out of her mind. Maybe she ought to go take a couple jumps inside the trash dumps and see how she likes it.
No, I think she'd like it. I think that's the problem. No, Dave, really, look, I hear you, and you make perfect logical sense. But, Sandy is right. She said, Jeff, look, many liberals and moonbats now say only shower or bathe once a week in the name of climate change. Many of them now are turning, I'm not kidding, on shampoo, on soap, saying, no, that's bad for the climate. So it's almost like, like the hippies. The hippies would never bathe or never shower. Okay, just very quick. To me, it's the elephant in the room. Where are the Republicans? Where the hell are they? I mean, if this is not a slam dunk issue, my God. Why aren't they out there blasting this lunatic mayor of Medford, saying, now you want trash to pile up every 2 weeks? And, Medford already has a massive rat problem. You want to make it exponentially worse? I mean, this is a quality of life issue. This is not 80-20, 85-15. This is a 90-10, 95-5. And yet, here, I just got a text from a good friend of mine, Rick, and knows that area very well. And here's what Rick tells me. Here it is. Jeff, the mayor of Medford ran unopposed. The Republicans didn't even bother to challenge her. And apparently she is a big supporter of Bernie Sanders. She's one of these, an Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, Mamdani, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie, far, far leftist. And apparently she's got people on her staff that are behind this radical rezoning in Medford. The city council in Medford is full of Bernie-backed so-called democratic socialists. And they just keep running unopposed. The Republicans won't even put up a figment of a fight, even the pretense of a fight. And so, again, I have to ask, where is Amy Carnevale, the chair of the Mass GOP? I've never seen a bigger loser in my life than this woman. By the way, they're practically out of money now at the Mass GOP. I mean, they're literally down to several $1,000s. So where is all the money gone? And how come Democrats run unopposed in election after election, city after city, town after town, city council after city council? And these were the idiots that installed her? We need a winner. We need a winner. She's a fundraiser, Jeff. She's a lobbyist. Oh, we need money is the mother's milk of politics. This woman will get us money. You're down to $2,000 in the bank account, for God's sake. This woman is a loser's loser. And again, if you can't beat Maura Healey on the issue of illegal immigration and cost of living, now, if you can't beat Democrats on freaking living in garbage, trash, and among rodents and vermin, you're useless as a party. I've never seen a more useless party in my life. Why am I driving this story? The Republicans should be driving this story. This is low-hanging fruit. This is like feeding a baby. This is, I mean, come on, if you can't do this, what are they doing over there at the Mass GOP? That's what I want to know. Now, I want to open this up just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Because I think Sandy really is onto something. Something has changed among many liberals who really now are Marxists, communists. But I got to tell you, look, even the Marxists in, say, Mother Russia, okay, in the old Soviet Union or in Eastern Europe, they bathed. I mean, I'm telling you, they did. They bathed. I mean, they may not have had the best soap or the best shampoo compared to us in the United States or in the West, but still, they had soap, they had shampoo, and yes, they bathed. There's something going on now among many, many moonbats, especially those in their 20s and 30s. You can really see it, where this climate change religion is not just telling them, live with trash and garbage and rats and rodents and vermin. So you have to, learn to the smell of trash, the feel of trash, and having rats all around you. No, it's worse than that. Now they're even saying, don't even bathe or shower. If you have to, once a week. But don't use soap or don't use shampoo. So what, just like water? That's it? So bad body odor is good for the environment. And I've noticed this now, it's been at least 5 or 6 years. This never happened to me before. I can't tell you how many times now I have gone to a movie theater, and they tend to be younger, they're in their 20s, and it's a group of, whatever, men, women together. Forgive me, they stink. And they stink because you're like, my God, the odor, it's just bad. I don't know if they're not using deodorant. I don't know if it's because they're just not showering or they're not using soap or whatever it is. First of all, their hair looks greasy. I'm like, dude, put some shampoo on that hair. Or, to these women, hey, lady, you're 23, 24 years old. Put some shampoo, man. Put some soap and water on your body. Like, you stink. There's a Big Y near my house, a grocery store. I swear to you. You go to the checkout counter. They're both men. There are 2 men who bag the groceries. My God, their armpits like a toilet. I mean, I'm like, oh, like, I'm serious. I gotta I hold it in. It'll knock you out. It's potent. I'm like, isn't there a manager? Isn't there like some standards where you say, hey, look, dude, I don't care what your personal philosophy is, but you're going to put some freaking deodorant on, number one. Number two, you're going to shower, dude, and you're going to shower with soap. Do you understand? Because this is making the customers really uncomfortable. To the point now, I'm starting to avoid that Big Y. I'm going to other grocery stores because they stink. I'm telling you the truth. They stink. And the one thing about Americans, We used to be world renowned for this. Our white teeth, that Americans are obsessed with cleaning their teeth, brushing their teeth. You know, you brush twice a day, you use mouthwash, whatever. They go, oh, Americans have the best teeth in the world. And number two, that Americans are fanatics about body cleanliness. You know, we're right up there with the Germans. Actually, and even a little more than the Germans. Everybody showers every day. Sometimes if you work out like I do, it's twice a day. Oh boy, no, Americans, boy, they shower, they shampoo, they use soap, they brush their teeth. You know, my mother used to complain, I often would change my socks twice a day. Well, let's say if I worked out or whatever, I'd throw the socks out and put on a fresh pair. Because in Europe, they're like, you don't do that. I mean, you got to conserve. And my dad was quite a clean man, but even I think he showered or bathed like maybe 4 times a week. So my mother, when I was growing up, said, boy, you know, like every day, Jeff. My sister was the same. But yeah, Mom, like everybody showers every day. What's wrong with you? And my mother got used to it. But I'm just saying, the fact that, you know, you shower or you bathe every day, that was common. That's, and you put on underarm deodorant and you smell good. Now you have liberals literally saying, stink. Don't smell good. Don't shower. Don't use soap. Don't use shampoo. Now they're pushing the toilet paper. Don't use toilet paper. Or if you have to use it, just one little tissue or 2 tissues. Like, I'm sorry. You've taken a dump. Forgive me. It's in the morning. I'm not trying to gross you out. You're going to need many times more than 1 or 2 tissues. Now, after a while, if you're not wiping your rear end, what are you, 2 years old? It's going to start to stink. Now, we've got a problem with people who fly. Our transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, and on this I'm with him 1,000%, says we are becoming a nation of slobs when it comes to flying. He says the problem is there are so many passengers now who are wearing their pajamas on daytime flights, wearing slippers, many of them not showering, not bathing, not using deodorant. And now he has to ask passengers, can you please dress better? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just very, very quickly, listen now to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy at a press conference saying, I'm almost ashamed to have to say this. It's embarrassing, but I've got to say it. We are becoming a nation of slobs. Please, when you get on an airplane, could you dress appropriately? I don't want to see you in your pajamas or in your slippers. Maybe take a shower. Hell, put some soap and water on that body. And could we stop with the trash talking, the constant fights, the lack of civility, the barbarism that we see on the air, up in the skies and in the air, where people are getting into fist fights over nothing, or swearing like a bunch of drunken sailors over a bag that you put in the compartment above your head. In other words, we're becoming a nation of slobs. Listen to Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary. Roll cut 11, Mike.
I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive. If we can help someone as we're getting on the aircraft that might need some help putting their bag in the overhead bin, and you're a little stronger, a little buffer, you've been lifting, stand up and, offer to grab that bag and put it up for someone who's having a more difficult time. Common courtesy and civility, I think, is going to work well.
Yeah, those days are long gone, my friend. Those days are long gone. It's like Survivor up there when you get on a plane. Seriously. 617-266-6868. So let me throw this on this log on the fire. Do you think overall we are becoming a nation of slobs? We live in filth. We don't shower anymore. Not we as in you and me or this audience, but honestly, a lot of this is on the left side of the aisle. I'm just calling it as I see it. Many liberals, many moonbats don't want to shower, don't want to bathe, don't want to even dress semi-appropriately. They throw on a hoodie, or they put on a tank top, or they put on a pair of pajamas, and they're barefooted and slippers, and they're on a plane. And they have no sense of self-respect and no sense of proper decorum or how to dress semi-decently or semi-appropriately. And so my question to you is, are we now watching the overall degradation of the United States? 617-266-6868. It's like the hippies are back, except without the without the bell bottoms and the long hair and the flowers. But the mentality is very similar. Okay, let's go to Victor in Maryland. Thanks for holding, Victor, and welcome.
America's talk show host.
Victor,
okay.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, Rush Limbaugh said that the environmental movement is the home of the Communist Party. G. Gordon Liddy called these people watermelons because they're green on the outside and red on the inside. These same people will stop a project, say you have a lot and you want to build a house. If they think there's a special species of fly, they'll keep you from building. These same people, like you said, are slobs, and they wonder why there's flies all over the place. Wait till the summertime. You need not only a can of Raid, but you'll be batting them away. I don't know what's wrong with these people. I try, even though I'm blind, I try to keep my house neat and clean. I have somebody come in and clean for me, make sure that there's no trash laying around, stuff like that.
Oh, Victor, look, to me, what you do is what most Americans do. Now, look, some are a little cleaner, some a little less, some a little more, obsessed with having a super tidy house. Others are a little bit messier. That's normal. We're not talking about that. We're talking about exactly what you're referring to, which is, you're going to learn to love to live in trash. And the garbage is going to pile up, and it's going to pile up, and it's going to stink, and you're going to learn to love it. And soon it's not going to be once every 2 weeks. It's going to be once a month. And it's going to pile up and pile up and pile up. And you're right. It's going to be full of flies. It's going to be full of rats and vermin and what they don't realize, disease. And, and they're already encouraging young people, no, don't even bother to bathe. People don't understand this. It was the Romans who invented the bath, bathing. And it was considered such a mark of civility, of civilization, that, oh my God, you don't have to stink all the time. The Romans introduced things like perfumes and oils and a little bit of soap. It developed more later. But in other words, have your body be clean. Like, oh my God. Like this, this was like a huge breakthrough. And then to have people regularly clean themselves, it's great for hygiene. I'm just telling you, just for your own personal hygiene. But never mind, you don't want to stink. You don't want to smell bad. No, that's gone. It's remarkable. And look, I will bet you the best steak at the steakhouse of your choice. That crazy mayor in Medford, I guarantee you she's one of those who showers once a week. She's one of these moonbats. Oh, it's bad for the environment. All right? So I bet she doesn't mind that she doesn't care that trash is going to stink up Medford, because I bet you don't want to come within 10 yards of her. I guarantee it. You start holding your nose. You're like, oh, It's like me at Big Y, at that one Big Y that I go to. Like, whoa, oh, whoa. They're like smelling salts. Whoa, that'll wake you up. So they love filth. They don't want to wash. They don't want to bathe. Now they want to bathe in trash or in garbage. You know, you invite the third world, you become the third world. And what you're starting to see now is America is becoming a third world country in every way, shape, and form. Soon, they're going to say, don't brush your teeth. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. They're going to say, no, don't brush your teeth. So what, you want everybody to have rotten teeth? Yep. It's coming. It's coming. Victor, final word to you.
I don't know what's going to happen down the road. I'm 78 years old. I feel sorry for the young people because they're going to have to suffer through all this baloney. And I'm telling you, I had to put up with people on the bus when I went to work, didn't take a bath. I was brought up, to be neat and clean and not look like a bum. But some of these people, they just don't care.
Oh, you nailed it. Victor, they don't care. They don't care about themselves. They don't care about their country. They don't care about their neighborhood. They don't care about their home. They don't care about anything. And this is now literally, this is why I think this story has struck such a nerve with so many people. What they're saying now is live in filth, live in garbage, and learn to love it. Learn to love it. That's where we are now with liberalism. That's what it's come down to. Victor, thank you very much for that call. Okay. And I refuse to do that. I'm telling you, I refuse to do that. And this should not be a left, right, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal issue, but sadly it's becoming one, like everything else. Vincenzo in Medford. Thanks for holding, Vincenzo, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Vincenzo.
Yeah, Rick, he took my thunder. The mayor, she ran unopposed. So she just walked in. So the people in Medford, they just let her walk back in. They're to blame. The people just didn't step up. But, they got this council there. They call themselves the Our Revolution. They're communists. They don't even, most of them don't even come from Massachusetts. A couple of them may be born in Massachusetts, but they won. But there was a bunch of patriots that tried to run against them. They were independents. And they tried like a hell to win the election, to take the council back. But they didn't do it. So the people in Medford, they got to blame themselves, except those patriots who try to take their city back. And another thing with this trash thing, you got to buy another container to put your trash in, and you got to rent it from the city. So they're going to take your money, $15 a month, plus they raise our taxes, the 2.5 override. They raise the 2.5 override, so you'll get screwed that way too. So we're going to have rats. We have to pay more money, and then they want to make more buildings in the Medford, and they're going to put all these welfare people in it. So you're going to have more trash, and you're going to have more rats. And then when the little Moonbat kid goes to kindergarten, the rat, he's going to jump up and bite him in the face. And then the mother's going to cry and say, "Oh, why is this happening in Medford? Why do we have these rats?" I'll tell you why they have these rats, because of the garbage. That's why. You're a dumb fool. That's what I'm going to say, Jeff. That's all I got to say.
Vincenzo, why don't you run for mayor?
Because there's still a lot of Italians left in the Medford, so I think I'm going to do it.
No, I'm Vincenzo, really, I'm not joking. And honestly, Vincenzo, keep your campaign just the way you said now. Just keep it very simple. No, trash once a week. That's it. I'll take care of your potholes. I'm going to pick up your trash, and I'm going to run the city like a normal city. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm going to do for you. That's it. I'm not going to raise your taxes because you're already overtaxed, and I'm going to pick up your trash, and I'm going to fill your potholes. That's what I'm going to do for you. You want that? Vote for me. You want more garbage and more rats and more vermin and more disease and more illegals? You vote for the that crazy Medford mayor, Lungo Kern. Vincenzo, great call. Thank you so much, and have a happy Thanksgiving. Okay, joining me now, joining me now as she always does at this time, Dr. Grace putting liberals in their place. Grace Voto. Speaking of another proud Italian, my wonderful wife, my better half, Grace, you've been listening to the show all morning. I just pray to God they don't bring this to Rentham, because I'm telling you, I'm not putting up with it. So my question to you, Moonbats, liberals now say to fight climate change and protect the environment, they have to reduce trash pickup to once every 2 weeks. What say you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a terrible idea. And let me tell you something. The first thing I would say to every member of the young generation is you're all a bunch of hypocrites. Every single one of you. Because for every time you complain about the environment, I want to look at your Amazon cart. How many times have you ordered in a week from Amazon? Because let me tell you, in our house, Jeff, you know how many boxes pile up in the garage because everybody's ordering from Amazon? And the number one driver of unnecessary packaging that I have to deal with every single week comes from all this shipping from Amazon. And guess what happens after that? If you can't just dump the regular trash at your curb, the next problem that occurs is illegal dumping. And all across Massachusetts now, we have an epidemic of illegal dumping. And municipal regulators have to deal with the fact that that causes a tremendous amount of pollution. It blocks waterways, pollutes waterways, it harms wildlife, it harms pets. So there's so much hypocrisy in this. You know, young people, for the most part, you know how many times I've had conversations with other moms who say, oh, my teens are always ordering from Grubhub and all these DoorDash, all these organizations that bring the food to your house. That's a tremendous amount of packaging that wouldn't be necessary if you were just eating at that restaurant. So this young generation is driving trash costs sky high. And at that moment, they don't care about the pollution. And then we have to hear about reducing trash collection pickup. So I think we have to have a frank conversation about where is all this excess trash coming from?
Grace, that's a very good point. I didn't even think of that. Grace, Medford has a serious rat problem now. Other areas in Mass do, and frankly, this is a problem in many big urban areas, not just in Massachusetts. New York, for example, is a huge rat problem. So does Chicago. Okay, I get it. But now with reducing this trash pickup from once a week to once every 2 weeks, the vermin, the rodent population is going to explode. And with it comes disease. It's dangerous. You know, they carry, they're all kinds of carriers. Why would this mayor, who's obviously a Bernie supporter, she's a hardcore leftist, why would this lunatic want to see trash pile up in her city, in front of homes, in front of schools, in front of restaurants, and literally have rats run wild? Are liberals now trying to force us to live in third world-like conditions, to learn to love garbage, to love trash, and put up with the stink and the stench and the smell? What say you?
Well, Jeff, listen, part of this is an ideological disease. You know, the town of Medford won an award for environment leadership. They won outstanding community from the Northeast Recycling Council. They won an award in 2025, so they're so proud of themselves. So part of it is ideological. And the other part is that they actually have a budget shortfall. And many cities and towns have a budget problem. So they're getting less revenue from the state. And they're also collecting less revenue from the public. If you look at the budget in Medford, for example, they've had a huge drop in construction permit activity. I wonder why, Jeff. Why are builders, getting less permits? It's because they don't want to deal with the over-regulation in a town like that of Medford. So you have tremendous budget shortfalls. And then they don't know what to do with that. They cause the budget shortfalls by over-regulating, by zany ideas, ideological ideas, not ideas that are just pragmatic and driven towards the public good. So they cause a budget shortfall, and then they have to reduce the services when they basically can't make ends meet. So it's twofold, and it's all comes down to one simple thing: incompetence and lack of true regard for each and every citizen's best interest.
Oh, you nailed it. You nailed it. And look, I would add one other, which is to me the elephant in the room: illegal immigration. The reason why there's a budget shortfall in cities and towns, not just across Massachusetts, but across all of the Northeast, in every blue state, I don't care if it's California, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, take your pick. It's because we're inundated with illegal aliens. And so if you got to pay for their housing, free health care, free phones, free cable, free education, $4,000 a month every month in direct cash assistance, there's no money left to pick up the trash. There's no money left to do anything. That's the problem. And I don't know if you heard Vincenzo from Medford. He's completely right. He said, by the way, they raised taxes on us in Medford again. So there's not enough money as they keep sucking this, bleeding this stone white. You can't take blood from a stone. So they just keep raising taxes, because all of it is going to the illegals. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Okay, Dr. Grace, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. I know it's off topic, but everybody has been emailing me saying they want to get your take. Trump met with Mamdani in the Oval Office, and later that day, Marjorie Taylor Greene announced her official resignation. Trump celebrated MTG leaving while celebrating Mamdani, that jihadist Marxist beside him. Something is wrong here. What do you make of his meeting with Mamdani and with him being so celebratory with the resignation of Marjorie Taylor Greene? Go.
Jeff, listen, this was a huge dual mistake on the part of President Trump. And contrary to what his, diehard supporters are saying, this is not 3D chess, and this is not keep your enemies, keep your friends closer and your enemies even closer, because Marjorie Taylor Greene was the best of best friends that MAGA could possibly have. So this is alienating your friends, trashing your friends, betraying your friends, and elevating our enemies, celebrating our enemies, legitimating our enemies. So this is the very opposite of that famous expression. I never want to hear that expression again. And there is no 3D chess, none, that could possibly justify calling Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor for trying to get justice for pedophiles who have victimized little girls. There's no 3D chess explanation in that. His behavior is simply unacceptable, and we have to call him out if we want to have him govern at his best self, which we know that he is capable of. But we also knew electing him that he has some serious character flaws. And we as MAGA have to work hard to try to steer him, redirect him in the right direction so we can get the best out of him during this presidency.
1 minute left. Mamdani, was it a mistake for him to praise him the way he did and glorify him the way he did, saying he was going to be maybe the greatest mayor New York ever had? Less than a minute.
Yes, it was a huge mistake. And what was even worse than what he was saying is the image that we can all not unsee of Mamdani standing there while he's sitting at that desk. That is an image that has gone around the world, and it signals to the Muslims, guess what, guys? We can eye that desk. We can sit in that desk soon. Our time is coming, and these idiots are going to open the door for us and welcome their very own enemies with a warm embrace instead of kicking them out as we should be doing.
Dr. Grace putting liberals in their place. Grace Voto. Grace, I'm really looking forward to Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. You always throw an incredible spread. I just want you to know I'm looking forward to it. Okay, this is a text that I got. You can text the Kuhner Man, by the way, 70470, 70470, about whether, Sean Duffy's point, transportation secretary, are we now becoming a nation of slobs? And he's talking about how people dress when they get on a plane and, frankly, even how they behave when they're on a plane. Well, this is from a good friend of mine, former law enforcement, and he wrote this to me. Jeff, if you stand outside any high school in Massachusetts, I would say 50%, if not more, so that's basically a majority, students wear pajama-type clothing to school every day. It's been instilled in this young generation. It's pathetic. I'm with you. I mean, nothing against pajamas, but that's when you go to sleep. I mean, it's just, what, would a pair of jeans and whatever, a shirt or something, would that kill you? Whatever, would that, I'm not talking about wearing a suit or an expensive dress or just, basic clothes. Would that, no? Is that too much now? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let's go to Brian in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Brian, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. I had a suggestion for solving the problem with so much trash and soap. Since each person uses a certain amount of it, if we ship the illegals out, like 10, 20 million of them, that would save the environment here a lot. And if they say they would just be polluting the countries that they go back to, well, that's the point. They don't care about the other countries. They don't care about China or India and all these other places that are polluting like crazy. And they don't seem to complain anything about that. And they just want to pick on the people in this country for whatever fiscal reasons they do it for.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, Brian, literally, this is what they call the checkmate argument. The biggest polluter on the planet, it's not even close, is China. It's not even close. The second biggest polluter is India. That's also not even close. The third biggest polluter is Brazil, and even that's not even close. So the United States and, frankly, Canada, okay, to be fair, the two of us, we have the cleanest economies and the cleanest, I'm talking about energy, pollution, the cleanest societies on earth. We're even cleaner when it comes to the environment than the Europeans. Now, they have high standards, but not as high as ours. So the one country, okay, and again, I'm in Canada as well, so both of us, okay, but that's so the two countries that should not be, trash pickup every 2 weeks, eventually once a month, and all this other nonsense, windmills and solar panels and EVs and EV mandates and, plastic straws. Now they want they're trying to ban plastic straws. The one country that shouldn't be involved in any of this nonsense is us. Because in the end, Brian, it's not about the truth or facts or evidence. Follow the money. There's a lot of money in this Green New Deal scam. A lot of money. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And there are so many special interests involved. They don't want to stop. They don't want to stop. And so I think that's the real issue here. And it's getting to the point now they're so freaking greedy and so fanatical at the same time, they want us to live in filth. Like literally live in trash. These people are insane. Brian, thank you very much for that call. But he's completely right. He's absolutely right. If they were serious, if they really believed what they're saying, they would be after China night and day, India night and day, Brazil, Latin America, the Middle East night and day. Instead, they just hammer, it's always hammer U.S. industry, U.S. businesses, U.S. citizens, us in the United States. You physically cannot get, in terms of pollution, cleaner now than the United States of America. Trump is right. Our coal is the cleanest in the world. We don't need windmills or so. Look, if you want to put solar panels on your home, hey, listen, buddy, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. If it saves you money and right for you and your family, go ahead, please. But to force our country to power our economy by solar is insane. It's insane. But there's no question. We have the cleanest economy in the world. So if they were serious, they would be after China. They'd be after India. They'd be after Saudi Arabia. I could go on and on. So why are they constantly harassing us? It shows they don't even believe what they say. At least the smart ones. 617-266-6868. Gino, my fellow paisan in Buffalo. Thanks for holding, Gino, and welcome.
Goomba, my Goomba. Happy Thanksgiving and a blessed Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving. All the best to you and yours, Gino.
Thank you, Jeff. I just need to say that, like one of your first callers said in Medford, they need to stand up and have a civil unrest. That'll never happen because we're too busy working. And every day there is a bombshell story on how corrupt, unethical, un-American, and how detrimental their policies are to the American way and our society.
Gino, you are on fire. Please hang on. I'm going to come right back to you. We're up against a hard break. 617-266-6868. Just very quick, many of you are texting and messaging the Kuhner Man saying, Jeff, you remember dress for success? You remember that phrase? I heard it growing up all the time. Look good, make a good impression, not just for a job interview, but just in general. You don't have to be in some expensive dress or a three-piece suit or something. But, look clean, look proper, look respectable. Those days are long gone. Okay, let's go right back to my fellow paisan, Gino in Buffalo. He was on a roll. Gino, you were saying essentially now in Medford, when you start playing with people's trash and garbage and forcing them to live in it, you're going to invite a massive backlash and civil unrest. It's inevitable. And then you're saying, if you look at the Democrats, every day it's some new so-called bombshell. They're destroying our country piece by piece by piece. Gino, you were on a roll. Please pick up where you left off.
Yes, Jeff. And what I was saying, even like the bombshells come, people are indicted. And then some activist judge summarily dismisses it on some technicality. Or even if they're convicted by a jury of their peers, another activist judge will overturn that conviction, i.e., the Minnesota health scam. There just seems to be no victory. And that's why when I talk to my friends, they say, well, we're really done because it seems like Republicans and Democrats together are in this in a conspiracy just to keep the money and the power. There seems to be no government, nobody who works for the constituents or work for the American taxpayer. All of our money goes to everything else except for what it was meant for. And that's where the frustration sets in, is the Democrats just steamroll every lunatic, nutty, moonbat policy they want. No matter how much they're told it's detrimental, they just steamroll it through and nobody stops them, i.e., again, Crazy Hochul in my state who thinks we should all be electric. It's nuts.
Gino, I promise it's going to make sense, okay? First 10 seconds, you're going to say, where's, the Kuhner man lost his mind? But no, I promise. And it's a way of asking you a question. When Abraham Lincoln famously issued his Emancipation Proclamation, okay, freeing the slaves, what do you think would have happened if some Democrat-appointed circuit judge in 1863 said, no, I'm blocking the Emancipation Proclamation? Because that's the way the Democrats now, with the way they've been weaponizing the judiciary, they block Trump on everything. That's what this judiciary now does. So it doesn't matter how noble, how right, how good for the country it is, how constitutional, how legal, they obstruct. What would Abraham Lincoln, I'm telling you, if the current crop of Democrats, if you can put them in a time machine and send them back to 1863, they would overturn Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. They'd have some crazy moonbat judge say, no, I'm sorry, we're blocking it. What would Lincoln have done? He issues his Emancipation Proclamation, and some crazy Democrat judge says, well, no, no, I don't think so. No, as far as I'm concerned, I don't agree with this, and I'm this judge, and I'm telling you that you're not going to free the slaves. Gino, what would Lincoln and the Republicans at that time have done? Go, my friend.
At that time, they might have said, we won the war, we're going to take up arms again and prove that our president made the Emancipation Proclamation, and we're going to stand by the president.
Bingo.
The Civil War might
In
have
other words,
continued on.
Lincoln would have told that judge, hey, buddy, go fly a kite. You know what Lincoln would have done? Arrest that SOB for sedition. I'm telling you, that's what Lincoln would have done. And his generals and the Republicans would be saying, yeah, who is this guy? We're going to try to free the slaves, and this guy is going to block us on some injunction, or some dinky judge thinks he's bigger than the president and bigger than the Constitution. What I'm saying is the Republicans then were a different breed of animals. I'm saying animals in the sense of like political animals. They were a different, breed of cat, as they say. They were tough. They were serious. They didn't fool around. They were patriots. They were nationalists. They loved their country. Some dinky judge blocks them and they go, okay. It's night and day. And so, Gino, I've got to ask you, you're right. The Democrats are liars. They're saboteurs. They're subversives. There's no question. But what does this say about Republicans? That they allow the Democrats to smack them around and to obstruct them at every turn. Are we now facing a crisis in the two-party system? What say you?
Jeff, every time we have this conversation, I always say it's the feckless Republicans. One little thing goes wrong, and you see nothing but a 24-hour stream of Democrats defending their unethical, immoral, horrible ways. Something happens to a Republican, they get buried, they get told they're horrible people, and not one of our Republicans will come up in their defense and help them out. It's a feckless party. Trump tried to get them to have a backbone, but they either got their hand in the cookie jar or they're truly cowards. There's something wrong with the Republican Party. I can't explain it, but it's really turning people off.
Gino, no truer words have been spoken. Gino, my paisan, my friend, have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving. All the best to you and your family, Gino. 617-266-6868. Joe in Medford. Thanks for holding, Joe, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good, Joe. Joe, don't take this the wrong way. I work in Medford. I love Medford. But, boy, I'm happy I don't live in Medford. Because with that crazy mayor, Joe, Joe, buy a lot of cats, my friend, because you're going to need something to start killing those rats. But please, go ahead, Joe.
Method, Jeff. No kings in Method. This mayor is pushing this policy, and then she's skirting it. She's running away to Winchester, where they have dumps, where they have a dump, unlimited trash. She can take her trash to the dump, but she's initiating this policy in Method. It is crazy. A few years back, or just last year, she changed everyone's utility supplier in Method to Direct Energy. You had to opt out, not opt in, but opt out to not be involved. She broke our contracts with the utility and forced us over to Direct Energy. This is all crazy.
Joe, do you think, I know there's a lot of lefties in Medford, a lot of radical Democrats, a lot of moonbats, but is this even too much for them? Do you think even the moonbats in Medford are going to rebel? Has the mayor now gone too far in your view? Or, amazingly, do you think these crazy liberals in Medford are going to say, okay, let the trash pile up, go ahead? Joe, what's your prediction?
I bet you they're going to let the trash pile up. Either that, they're going to bring their trash to Winchester and see how they like it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna live with it for a short period of time, and then they're gonna rebel because there is gonna be trash all over the city. This is absurd what she's doing. It's just absurd.
Joe, I know you agree with me on this, but I have to ask you, how is this even possible? To me, if you're the mayor of a city, you should live in that mayor. Sorry. If you're a mayor in that city or town, you should live in that city or town. Like, to me, this is insane. So the mayor is now going to impose this draconian trash pickup policy, once every 2 weeks. And she says it's going to go to once a month. Like, this is a phase in. So she's going to go from 2 weeks to once a month. But she's running off to another town where she doesn't have to live with the consequences of her own policy. Joe, shouldn't this be obvious? If you're going to be the mayor of a city or town, you have to live and reside in that city or town? Or, Joe, am I missing something?
100%. They should be living in this city. You're not skirting the policies. I mean, they just raised our taxes, and
they raised your taxes, and now they won't even pick up your trash. Maria in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Maria, and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. All the best to you and your family, Maria.
Thank you. You too. I'm just calling. I'm not calling about trash. I'm calling about the Republicans. It's simple. They don't do any hard work because when they lose, their paycheck stays the same and they have less work to do and they don't get blamed for anything. It's that simple.
Maria, you make an excellent point. Let me ask you this. Why don't the Democrats have the same mentality? Right? In other words, well, okay, we lose, we still get paid, and we have a lot less to do. How come the Democrats don't think like the Republicans?
Want the power. They want to change this country. The Republicans are okay with the status quo.
Interesting. So you're saying just Republicans, these like establishment Republicans, they're just built differently. They see the world differently. To them, as long as there's a steady paycheck and basically nobody touches them and their families and they're able to line their pockets, they don't care. So they don't mind being in the minority and losing again and again. The Democrats, because they want to transform this country, they're obsessed with power. And that's why for them, winning is everything, correct?
Yes, it's that simple.
Interesting. Maria, again, happy Thanksgiving. Really good call. I think she pretty much nailed it. Like, really. Republicans just want to, bank some cash, make, line their pockets and go home. Like, that's it. There's nothing much more than that. Democrats, that's something different. They're communists. They're Marxists. They want social transformation, social engineering, power. CJ in Boston. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. And
Hi, CJ.
Let me wish you, your family, and your staff a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, and a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your whole family, CJ.
Okay, just to let all the non-Italians know out there, whether it's Thanksgiving, you're having turkey or ham for Christmas or lamb for Easter, the pasta's always on the table.
Exactly, baby.
All right, Jeff, you touched on something very quickly on Mandami. That picture of him standing over Donald Trump spoke 1,000 words. President Trump looked like as the strongest political figure in the world submitting to an Islamic communist. That's what it looks like, and I'll bet you that picture is hanging on every Muslim household, not only in the United States, but probably in the Middle East. What he was saying to Trump, he's sitting in that seat now, but I'll be sitting in there very shortly, or someone just like me will be in that seat very shortly. The second misstep that he made is Lindsey Halligan appointing her to prosecute those cases down in Florida. That was a huge mistake. They should have crossed the T's and dotted the I's to make sure that didn't happen. And the big one was the falling out he had with Marjorie Taylor Greene. That should have never been public. That should never have been public. There should be no infighting with the Republicans. As for this mayor in Medford, I'm very familiar with Medford. Let me tell you, Jeff, it's a beautiful community. There were a lot of Italians living there at one time. There needs to be somebody to primary this woman and take over the mayoral seat in Medford. It's a beautiful town. Now, the question is, if they have pickup twice a week, I believe Republic is the company that does the garbage pickup. Are they going to have to double their trucks every other week? And what would the saving be if the truck has to go to the dump, and they're being charged by the load or by the ton to dump it? There's not going to be any saving here. They should get the city council together maybe and demand that half of the Medford City budget should go to rodent control. When there's no garbage pickup, I would never suggest that they maybe go to Morrison Park or one of the schoolyards or, what my friend used to do up in Saugus, Massachusetts, which is only a few short miles from Boston, that had a 2-limit bag garbage pickup. Anything over you had to pay for. He made sure that third and fourth bag was dropped off right in front of City Hall every week. So to the people of Medford, you get what you vote. We get what you vote for. That's what people don't understand. It's not the Republicans. Don't blame the Republicans. I mean, we have an election coming up here, and who are you going to do? You're going to vote for Maura Healey again? She's the one that turned off the 2 gas lines to your house. I mean, don't blame the Republicans. The problem has always been the voters. They have always been too giving, too sympathetic, and frankly, too liberal, Jeff. So unless the people of Medford wake up and change what's going on in the city of Medford and get new leadership there, this is going to continue as long as you have Moonbats in public office.
You nailed it. CJ, look, honestly, great way to end the show, and for me anyway, and for Sandy and Mike, a great way to end the week. CJ, again, I want to wish you, your whole family, and everybody in Kuhner country, all of you, have a happy, blessed, wonderful Thanksgiving. We will be back live on Monday. There'll be programming, obviously, holiday programming tomorrow and Friday. Look out for the Ukraine peace deal. Trump says they're very, very close.